president arresting people for thought crimes. And when their guy actually unironically does that for a foreign state, not even like, he didn't even say anything against America, which still would be unacceptable, while simultaneously going, Shalom, Mahmoud. This is what you get for speaking out against Israel. And these dumb fucks in unison try to find ways of defending this insane encroachment on civil liberties. One of the most consequential, one of the most important protections that the Constitution affords all of us unconditionally, citizen and non-citizen alike. This is an actual violation of the First Amendment. Not like video game titties or I don't know, whatever you perceive as a severe injustice, like a black female protagonist in your favorite video game. This is it. It is, like, I would say that online, this kind of sentiment is fairly broad, like broadly represented, overrepresented. I don't think in the real world there is this much support. There's this much support for deporting people. Guys, I'm going to have Maya in a second. I'm going to have her on in a second. Please stop being fucking annoying. I'm in the process of covering a very important news story that I have been monitoring while also simultaneously trying to directly talk to the legal team of Mahmoud Khalil for months at this point, so I could go visit him in the fucking Louisiana prison that he was in. And you guys are fucking freaking out. This is an incredibly important news story. God damn. I love Maya. She's about to come on. We're going to talk about animals. We're going to do some fun stuff. But you need to fucking shut the fuck up for a second, okay?
She also said, today we are celebrating Mahmoud coming back to New York to be reunited with our little family and the community that has supported us since that day. He was unjustly taken for speaking out for Palestinian freedom. Phil?
Gloria Pazmino, thanks so much. Let's bring in now Donna Lieberman, Executive Director of the New York ACLU, which is helping represent Mahmoud Khalil. Donna, appreciate your time. Just to start off, what more do we know right now about when a release might happen at this point?
We know he's been ordered released today, and we know that the release is being processed, but we don't know exactly when that will happen.
Before this decision today, or before the order today by the judge, he had been the only prominent pro-Palestinian demonstrator still in ICE custody, at least that I'm aware of. The State Department had claimed he posed a threat to national security. The use of that claim seems to have fallen apart in almost every case at this point. Is that a fair assessment?
I just popped in. I have no context. I just don't like judges. Oh, God. Guys, stop fucking talking to the moron. Okay?
That's right. The Trump administration was trying to use this antiquated statute that was little used historically to justify detaining and deporting Mahmoud Khalil and others because they were ostensibly a threat to our foreign policy by virtue of lawful political expression. And the judge unequivocally rejected the government's claim and said that holding him on these grounds was unconstitutional. So today's ruling, last week's ruling and today's ruling combined are a vindication of Khalil's rights. They're a vindication of the First Amendment and our democracy, but the case is not over. We still have to get all the charges dismissed, dumped. These are trumped up charges, literally, figuratively, and we need to make sure that the Trump administration gets the message, and they should with today's ruling, that you cannot deport people based on lawful political expression. You cannot retaliate against people for exercising First Amendment rights, whether they're citizens or not.
I wanted to ask you about kind of what happens.
Wait, I'm confused. My favorite political commentator who lives in a fucking mountain of piss and shit told me that non-citizens don't get this kind of protection. and that legal permanent residents should be deported for saying things that I personally don't like. I'm so confused. What is your academic pedigree, lady? Is what I would say if I was the dumbest person on the fucking planet, okay? I'm not. I'm the second dumbest person on the fucking planet.
Next, because it was striking, the judge today saying, and I'm paraphrasing here, but based on what he had seen, there's at least something to the underlying claim that has been made in his defense that this was all about.
Yeah, where's Mold Man now? Where the fuck is he now? I thought he was certain that this was based.
Just trying to crack down on speech on some level, which was notable, but there is still a case that's not over. He faces charges that he failed to give required information on his green card application, still potentially faces deportation. What's your sense of where that goes?
Well, you know, the team of lawyers is going to fight vigorously to get all the charges dismissed. But this will play out in court in a way that is consistent with our system of justice. Mr. Khalil will be free. He'll be with his community. He'll be with his wife, his new baby, and he will not be subjected to additional irreparable harm as a result of Trump's retaliatory campaign to make him a symbol and to deport him. So the case will go on, and we're hopeful that we will be successful. We're confident because he is right. He has every right to be here. He's a lawful permanent resident. He's got a green card, and he has done nothing wrong to justify the treatment.
We will certainly be watching every step of the way. Donna Lieberman, New York ACLU, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil has just been
ACLU, actual communist lawyer union, probably, right? That's probably, they clearly not an institution tasked with defending civil liberties or anything like that. Classic. Of course they would be saying such things, saying such silly things. Would you be down to interview him? Yes, I already talked about it. I'm working on it actively.
Ordered released from ICE detention. This decision from a federal judge coming more than 3 months after he was arrested outside his apartment on Columbia University's campus. Khalil expected to be released today. CNN senior legal analyst Ellie Honig joins us now. Ellie, can you just remind us how we got here and help us understand, why this is happening now?
Sure. So Khalil was arrested back in March under an obscure part of a law called the Immigration and Nationalization Act of 1952. That law says that the Secretary of State can deport a non-citizen if the Secretary of State makes a finding that the person poses a serious threat to American foreign policy. And so invoking that law, Marco Rubio had Mr. Khalil detained. Mr. Khalil then hired attorneys, and he has filed a lawsuit challenging his detention and potential deportation. This is something called a habeas lawsuit. That's in federal court in the District of New Jersey. And as part of that lawsuit, Mr. Khalil has asked to be released while the lawsuit itself played out. And that led to today's ruling by the judge that he is to be released as the lawsuit plays out.
So, Ellie Honig, we understand that he has posted bail.
And incredibly angry all the fucking time. Everyone around them resents them, so they think, oh, well, as long as the government is actually doing this kind of awful shit, as long as the government is doing this kind of awful shit to people that I have perceived as my enemies, that I'm too stupid to recognize are simply just my neighbors, do I feel a crumb of power? Not recognizing that the government that does that to Mahmoud Khalil on ridiculous grounds, simply an exercise of the First Amendment, will inevitably do that to you as well. Do you think it's antisocial behavior? I agree. What? I agree with you about Israel and Gaza, but judges are wrong a lot of the time. Do you think the judges are wrong in this case? Otherwise, why did you actually take issue with this release? I take issue with the judges being wrong in even letting him see the inside of a cell for even a fucking fraction of a moment, not with his release. You chose this, I guess, inopportune moment to talk about, you know, injustice taking place within the criminal justice system, I suspect. Or maybe you're too much of a coward to say it with your fucking chest. Fuck. Frame drop. Yes, I know. There was a fucking brief F. It was a little bit of a stutter. And there isn't a delay. Calm down. Let's
The
keep going.
Trump administration's immigration crackdown, which targeted pro-Palestinian protesters on U.S. University campuses. And since that push, which started 3 months ago, many of the students have actually been released, all of them except Khalil. In the meantime, he has missed his graduation, the birth of his son, and he's been kept away from his families and his attorneys. Now, 2 weeks ago, the judge in this case said that he was going to order Khalil's release, but the government appealed that decision, saying that there was an outstanding charge accusing Khalil of lying on his green card application, something that his lawyers have denied. Now, his lawyers renewed their request for the court to issue bail, and that's exactly what happened here today. Khalil will be released. He said that the outstanding matter is a civil matter in immigration court, certainly not a criminal matter, and we are expecting to hear some detail about the conditions for his release, including the surrender of his passport and travel conditions. Here's what his wife, Dr. Noor Abdallah, said upon learning about his release. Quote, "We know this ruling does not begin to address the injustices the Trump administration has brought upon our family and so many others."
Republicans complain about the fantastical Democratic disturbed by the beeper that Netanyahu gave. Trump was disturbed by the beeper that Netanyahu gave him and may have read it as a threat.
Show in front of a backdrop of files and CDs, Netanyahu said that Iran had lied to the world about its nuclear intentions when signing the 2015 deal. And just a few days later, Donald Trump withdrew the US from the agreement.
This was a horrible, one-sided deal that should have never, ever been made.
Trump reimposed sanctions on Iran and assassinated their top general Qasem Soleimani in 2020.
Robust infrastructure than Russia. He would do an IShowSpeed style China Glaze session, but he's not an honest broker and he wants to go ahead. Tell me that's not a gay man. Go ahead. He is the most in shape person in Missouri also. Like that alone. I feel like I've seen Austin kiss women more convincingly than this. I've never seen someone experience so much disgust at the mere thought of kissing a woman. Josh Hawley gazing at Harrison Butker and thinking, I'd climb him like a backyard jungle gym. If my wife looked like that, I'd kiss her. He's why I buy brawny paper towels. We can co-star Yellowstone, Bunkhouse Confidential. I can make him love me with my mind.